No one warned you that trying to understand life would slowly remove you from it. And what's more unsettling is this: you already know. You felt it before, quietly, briefly. Then you buried it. There is a moment, almost imperceptible, where experience fractures, where living turns into watching yourself live. You're still there, but not fully. You speak to someone, and part of you steps back to analyze. You feel something, and another part translates it into language. You exist, but interrupt yourself to ask, what does this mean? And right there, without drama, without noise, something is lost. Not because you weren't paying attention, but because you were paying too much attention in the wrong way. Your mind refuses raw existence. It insists on refining everything into explanation. But life was never refined. It is uneven, contradictory, sometimes indifferent to the point of cruelty, and entirely unconcerned with your need to understand it. Still, you keep trying. Not out of desire, out of conditioning. You were taught that not knowing is dangerous, that unnamed feelings are weakness, that a life without answers is a life without direction. So you do what everyone does. You turn existence into a problem. And then something subtle begins to decay. You understand more and feel less. You organize more and live less. You explain more and lose more. Each answer creates a quiet distance between you and what actually matters. And the most disturbing part? Life keeps working perfectly, without any of your conclusions. The sun rises without explanation. Time moves without justification. Things happen, with or without your approval. But you resist this, because letting go of answers feels like dissolving yourself. And this is where almost everyone stops. But long ago, someone crossed that point. Dwangjo did not try to fix the chaos. He did not shape the formless. He did not convert mystery into system. He did something far more unsettling. He stopped searching. And in doing so, he saw something that destabilizes everything you've built. The need to understand life is what prevents you from living it. It is not the absence of answers that disturbs you. It is your attachment to them. And if that is true, then everything you've been doing has not been leading you toward peace. It has been quietly pulling you away from it. Stay here, because what follows will not give you ground, but it may finally remove the burden of needing one. Silence no longer reaches you. You can turn everything off, devices, lights, voices, and still, something continues, not guiding, not helping, demanding, questions, endless, repetitive, sterile questions. What does this mean? Am I doing this right? Why do I feel this way? What if I'm wrong? Notice what happened. Thinking stopped being a tool. It became an environment, and you live inside it. Your mind no longer participates in life. It dissects it. Every moment is filtered before it is felt. Nothing arrives whole, and you call this awareness. But it is distance. Dwangjo once said the mind should function like a mirror, reflecting without holding, receiving without resisting. But that is not how you exist. You cling to every thought, every doubt, every fragment of sensation, as if each must produce a conclusion before it is allowed to pass. This is where exhaustion begins, because life does not pause for interpretation. While you try to understand it, it continues. And the more you attempt to keep up through explanation, the further behind you fall. There is a form of fatigue that does not come from the body. It comes from carrying questions that were never meant to be answered. People lie down, but do not rest. They pause, but do not stop. The mind keeps generating, one thought feeding another. One doubt opening 10 more. And somewhere in that cycle, you start believing that one final answer will resolve everything. Just one more. But it never does. Because the act of searching is what sustains the noise. The mind promises resolution, while manufacturing unrest. Zhuang Zhou observed this with unsettling clarity. Too much knowledge does not illuminate. It obscures. You are not lost because you lack answers. You are overwhelmed because you are trying to answer what does not require resolution. And the more you insist on forcing life into questions, the more it escapes. Not because it is complex, but because it was never meant to fit inside them. Control was never yours, but the fear of losing it has shaped your entire existence. You do not search for answers out of curiosity. You search because you are afraid. Afraid of what shifts, afraid of what escapes definition, afraid of what unfolds without permission. When something cannot be understood, it creates a void. Not just uncertainty, exposure. And to fill that space, your mind builds explanations. Not because they are true, but because they are tolerable. A narrative is easier than chaos. But here is what no one tells you. Explanation does not stabilize reality. Nothing you understand prevents change. Still, you persist. You try to structure what is inherently unstable. Predict what was never predictable. Control what was never yours. And when life breaks those structures, you collapse with them. Not because the event was unexpected, but because you believed understanding would have prevented it. Zhuang Zhou cuts through this illusion. The world is not something to be governed. It is something that moves on its own. And the more you try to hold it, the faster it slips. Loss does not wait for preparation. Change does not ask for permission. Endings do not justify themselves. And the mind, faced with this, does one thing. It searches for meaning, as if meaning could restore what is gone, but it cannot. It only creates the illusion of closure. People spend years trying to justify what cannot be justified, not to discover truth, but to recover control. And here lies the contradiction. If understanding were control, nothing would change. But everything changes, constantly. So understanding was never control. It was comfort, a refined illusion. Zhuang Zhou said, "The one who does not cling, does not lose. Only those who try to hold suffer the breaking. Let go of fixing the transient, and frustration dissolves with it. But this requires something your mind resists, abandoning the safety of explanation. Because what you really want is not answers. It is guarantees, and life has never offered them. Not once. Not all pain needs resolution. Some pain simply exists, and that alone is enough to disturb you. Because you cannot accept suffering without justification. Feeling by itself seems incomplete. So you assign value to pain. You turn it into growth, into lesson, into something that makes it worth it. And here, something distorts. You begin negotiating with reality. If this has meaning, then I accept it. But life remains silent, and that silence becomes heavier than the pain. Zhuang Zhou does not comfort this. He dismantles it. What do you call right? What do you call wrong? The question is not meant to be answered. It is meant to collapse your framework. Because demanding meaning is an act of judgment. You are measuring existence against your expectations. But life does not operate within your categories. It does not organize events to be understood. It does not distribute experiences with intention. It simply unfolds. And that is difficult to accept, because it removes you from the center. When something hurts deeply, the real weight is not the pain. It is the belief that it should not have happened. That belief, that resistance, is where suffering expands. And it only exists because you expect coherence, moral coherence, emotional coherence, logical coherence. But none of this is guaranteed. Dwangjo points toward a harsh neutrality. The universe does not favor. It does not select. It does not explain. This is not cruelty, it is indifference. And that indifference is unbearable for a mind that demands meaning. Because without meaning, you are no longer central. Life is no longer about you. It simply is. And at that point, suffering shifts. It is no longer about the event. It is about your refusal to accept that no explanation will satisfy you. As long as you search for a reason that feels right, you remain trapped. But there is one exit. Accept without justifying, not as surrender, as clarity. Because logically, there is no argument against this. If life does not owe you meaning, then demanding it is a flawed premise, and everything built on a flawed premise collapses. Stopping feels like failure, so you never try it. Everything in you has been trained to continue, to think more, fix more, understand more, as if your effort is holding reality together. But observe carefully. How many times did something resolve only after you stopped interfering? Not intentionally, but because you were exhausted. You let go, and something shifted, not because you understood, but because you moved aside. Zhuang Zhou describes this paradox. Non-action leaves nothing undone. This is not passivity, it is precision. There is a difference between giving up and no longer distorting. Your constant effort creates friction, and that friction disrupts the natural movement of things. You call it effort. But often, it is resistance. Resistance to what is already happening. When that resistance ends, something unexpected appears. Space. And that space is not empty. It is functional. Decisions arise without force. Actions occur without internal conflict. Perception clears, not because you tried harder, but because you stopped interfering. Even science brushes against this. When mental rumination decreases, clarity increases, not through effort, through absence of excess. Dwangjo Zhou understood this long before it was measured. Flow with what happens. Let the mind be free. This is not poetic, it is operational. When you stop forcing understanding, stop forcing control, stop forcing meaning, life does not stall, it continues. And for the first time, you are not behind it, you are inside it. The final prison is not doubt, it is the need to escape it. As long as you believe everything must be concluded, uncertainty will feel like a threat, and you will keep moving, not toward life, but toward an ending that does not exist. Then something rare happens, not clarity, fatigue, a specific kind, not physical, existential. You stop demanding answers, not as a decision, as collapse. And suddenly, nothing is resolved, but nothing needs to be. Zhuang Zhou expressed it simply. True knowledge is knowing that you do not know. This is not humility, it is structure. When not knowing is no longer a problem, the need to search disappears. And without that search, the mind stops manufacturing illusions of progress. The unknown stops being a void. It becomes space, open, neutral, unburdened, and everything changes. Decisions lose their weight. Experiences lose their need for translation. Life stops being a puzzle. It becomes movement again. And then, without effort, without argument, without resistance, something becomes undeniable. Life never required answers. It only required your presence. There comes a point where you stop trying to understand and start noticing how much that effort was costing you. Not loudly, not dramatically, just a quiet realization that maybe life was never waiting for your conclusions. And maybe neither was peace. If something in this video stayed with you, even a small discomfort, a pause, a shift, then it already did what it needed to do. And honestly, just you being here, watching, reflecting, that already supports this work more than you think. But if you feel like going a step further, staying closer to this kind of content, diving deeper, you can become a member of the channel. There are over 100 exclusive videos there, made for those who want to go beyond the surface. And if this message resonated in a way you can't quite explain, you can also use the super thanks, not as an obligation, but as a quiet way of giving back to something that, in some way, gave something to you. Either way, watching, sharing, staying present here, it already matters, more than you realize.